everyone. Welcome. Um, this month is April, and this is not April Fool's Day today. I'm trying to remind myself of that, so I can't play any jokes today, but it's actually Mushroom Month for us. We caved in and decided to go with mushrooms. A month,
Mushrooms.
and yes, an entire
Yay,
month
mushrooms!
dedicated to just mushrooms. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. My name is Marium. I'm a Twitch content producer with GeekGirlCon. I am wearing glasses with I don't know what color to call this, pale hijab with and a set of headphones. I'll pass it down to whoever wants to introduce themselves next.
I can go next. Hi, I'm Julia. I am she, her. I am the manager of gaming at GeekGirlCon. I have purple blue hair and wear glasses with a yellow tint. Those are like green glasses.
Nice. Hi, everyone. I'm Prime, pronouns she, her. I'm also on the Twitch team at GeekGirlCon. I am wearing a red t shirt. I've got red hair and an orange headset. And
Look at us matching our heads with our shirts today.
Color
we
coordinated.
also all
Yeah.
have kind of like purpley backgrounds. Like, we must have been on the same
Look at the
wavelength today.
mushrooms.
The mushrooms are really great.
Very cute.
Bouncy mushrooms. Well, you might be wondering why we have Pedro Pascal down there below Prime. Well, because we are obviously doing the Last of Us fan panel. Some disclaimers. I have not watched or played The Last of Us, so I will be your live reaction person today representing the chat who also has not watched it.
Oh.
That's fine.
That is
You can
fine.
still experience the whole thing.
Yeah.
I wish I could, actually, again.
Yeah, we've kind of got a range of experiences here. So I've only ever watched the show. I have not played the games, and Yulia has played the games and watched the show, so she's going to be our expert today.
It's been a while.
Just so folks know, we will be talking about spoilers for the TV show season 1. We're gonna try to stay away from stuff that happens in the game in season 2. But just so you know, we might be throwing some spoilers out there for you. So be warned.
Yes. We're also doing a surprise trivia today as well with The Last of Us, just to make it a little more interesting today. So yeah, we'll see how our lovely panelists do today with all of the Last of Us trivia questions.
Let me just not get Google up here real quick. Just kidding.
All right. Do you want to do like a brief lot introduction or the story introduction first, or should I do my first poll, which is not really related to The Last of Us, but more like to our month theme of the month?
I love audience participation, so maybe let's do the poll, and then as people are voting, maybe we could do a quick recap.
Okay, cool. So here's a fun one. And I hope everyone gets this right, but we'll find out. Is a fungus a type of mushroom, or is mushroom a type of fungi?
Interesting.
Do we try to answer that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Do you know the answer? So, or are you gonna speculate?
Is mushroom a type of fungi, or is a fungus a type of mushroom?
Actually, I have to speculate about that.
Same. I'm pretty confident in the answer, but not 100%.
Yeah, so I would say that a mushroom is a type of fungi.
That's what I would say too. I feel like fungi are is like the
It's more
broad
than that.
that like
Yeah.
encompasses probably mushrooms, mycelia, what's the other stuff that I'm trying to think of? Oh, truffles. I feel like it encompasses all of that kind of stuff, but I could be wrong. I could have this completely backwards.
Not very confident, are we?
No, not super. Do the jump scene. Mushroom is fungus. Mushroom is fungus, specifically the reproductive portion. Oh, and
Oh,
thanks for the
okay.
sub. Do the jump.
Hey, I'll end the poll here since it looks like we've come to a conclusion. It's going to show the most picked option as the correct one, which is actually correct. Do the jump was right. Mushroom is a type of fungi.
Woo!
Very nice. Well done. We have such a smart
Good
audience.
job.
Right? Just the smartest of them here.
Exactly. All right, so should we attempt a recap of season 1? Yes?
Yeah, it's not coming from me.
No? Oh,
so.
shoot. Okay. All right, I'll do my best. We'll see. I'm sure I did not prepare this ahead of time, which is something I normally would have done. So The Last of Us follows Joel, who is just a former military turned handyman. He's got a daughter, and they are just living their lives when this infection of cordyceps starts to take over the world. It starts very quickly, and I believe it's transmitted through infected wheat that is all over the country or all over the world, really, and spreads via consumption as well as being attacked or having contact with somebody who is infected. Lots of really sad things happen. Fast forward, I think 20 years, and Joel is now in 2023, where we're at in the timeline. And he has kind of just been surviving the last 20 years, very grizzled, very grumpy, kind of curmudgeon-y guy. And he is introduced to a girl named Ellie, who is, as far as we can tell, the only person alive who is somehow immune to the cordyceps that are infecting people. And he is tasked with taking her to a facility across the country so that they can use her to try to develop a cure. And the reason they're even able to convince him to go is because he has lost track of his brother and is searching for him out in where he thinks he is, which is Wyoming, which is completely across the country from where he is at that time. I think is that broad enough?
I think
That's
you
pretty
did a
good,
pretty
yes.
good job there.
Okay.
Okay. So, Yulia, quick question. Prime went over kind of like the show recap. Would you say that the game, the first game part of like part 1 of the game, is similar to the recap that Prime just told us?
Yes. I think one good thing about the show is that they try to stay very close to the game. They went as far as even recreating scenes from the game that fans really would recognize in the TV show as well.
Cool. This kind of brings me into my second question for both of you, and well, I feel like we kind of answered this, but how were you introduced to The Last of Us first? Was it the game or the show?
For me, it was the game first. I played it back then when it came out as an exclusive for for PlayStation. And even though I really don't like to play shooters on a console, and I would say The Last of Us is kind of a shooter slash, I don't know, sneaking game
Yeah.
that you can do. Um, the story was so enticing and yeah, captured me that I played it through, and I mean, ever since I've been a fan of it.
Yeah, I actually, I had always heard of The Last of Us. I'd heard that everybody loved it. That was so good. I had so many people tell me that I was supposed to play it. But I'm not a huge fan of the zombie genre in general. I kind of started off with Walking Dead and I got burned out by that really quickly. So I was not looking for any entertainment that had to do with that particular genre. And so I really just slept on it. And honestly, I wasn't even planning on watching the show because, again, I felt like, what more can we add to the zombie genre? Um, and then episode 3 aired, and everybody I knew was saying that this was the best episode, not just of the show, but of television. Like, literally, someone told me this is the best episode of television they had ever seen. And so I was like, okay, I gotta see what's going on with this. And we watched the first episode, and honestly, immediately I was in. I was like, yeah, okay, this is it. This is awesome. And then we binge watched up until the point where the show was, and then every episode on Sunday we were glued to the TV waiting to see what was going to happen.
Aww. Remind me, episode 3 is about what exactly?
Bill and Frank.
Ah, Bill and Frank. Yeah, that is a really good piece of TV
Yeah, it was
classic.
worth it for sure.
It is also a very nice twist on the game because Bill and Frank are also a part of the game,
Mm-hmm.
but their relationship is not as obvious in there.
Oh, interesting.
There is a hint that they might have been in love with each other, but they didn't live together. They were more like business partners. And I think the show did here what the game was not really able to do in a good way, and actually redeemed that whole story arc line for them and enhanced it. It was really a good one.
Yeah, it was definitely a tearjerker.
Yes.
Really sweet. But yeah.
All right, so this brings me into my next poll question. And Yulia, if you know the answer, I will ask you to
I
hold it in
see.
for 1 minute.
I will.
So my next question is, what year did the game release in? Was it 2012, 2013, 2014, or 2015? And the
Oh
poll
my
starts.
gosh.
Actually, I don't know the answer.
I have no clue. I'm gonna go
No.
ahead and just guess 2012 because it feels in line with like the like apocalypse stuff, right? Like forever, people were saying 2012 was gonna be the end of times because of the Mayan calendar or whatever. So I'm gonna go with that, but that's not based in actual anything that I know.
Yeah, I'm also not really sure. It's no time flies by. I have no idea.
Right?
If you were to take a guess, which year would you say?
I would also say 2012.
Okay, so we have 2 votes for 2012, 1 vote for 2013, and 1 vote for 2014.
Okay.
And I purposely put all the years close, like one after another, because I was like, I can't make them too far apart. It's easy to guesstimate when it was released.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Making it tough on us.
All right. I am gonna give it a few more seconds, and I think I'm gonna wait till see if you can get one more vote in. Maybe not. But the correct answer is actually 2013.
Oh,
What?
dang it.
Dang. Okay.
You're very close. Very
It's
close.
1 year.
Yeah.
1 year off. It's like you can attribute that end of the world thing to, like, it took them 1 year to make that game because of like
Oh.
the end of the world whole fiasco
Yeah,
that happened in 2012.
2013. Hmm.
Yep. The unlucky number 2013. All right. That's it from my poll. I'm just gonna move on to my next question, which is, kind of like talking about end of the world and apocalypses and all what's on pandemics and whatnot. And it's ironically the story is actually set in 2023. Who would have thought? Um, what are some similarities between like the pandemic that was shown in The Last of Us and the beginning of the COVID pandemic? Like both like probably you could like do similarities like during the apocalypse or during the pandemic and after like the post-apocalyptic world in The Last of Us.
Hmm.
You want to start, Prime?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of what some of the similarities were. I do remember
Me too.
feeling like I remember thinking about that while we were watching it. And
Hmm.
I think I'm trying to remember. I feel like there was a stubbornness to people, and an unwillingness that we saw as well in the pandemic. I can't think of a specific example of, or even if I'm thinking of the right thing, but just like a pushback against authority, a pushback against the government, and like a wanting to do things their own way. Um, it was so fast and so dramatic. I don't know. What did you think, Julia?
Oh, I mean, I'm glad that there are not too many similarities.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that my neighbors didn't start to bust through my doors and start biting me or stuff like that. Um, it felt familiar with the beginning, like in the first episode, I think, where they were unraveling the story between Joel and his daughter Sarah, right? When they were still at home watching TV, watching the news, that kind of reminded me, right, of
Mm,
us as well, that the news were just focused around what was going on and this feeling of uneasiness that it's just getting more and more. That was something that felt pretty familiar. But that was the only thing for me, actually, right? I mean, where we hunkered down and isolated ourselves, the people in the show started freaking out and leaving their houses. For that reason, I'm pretty glad that we didn't get that far.
yeah.
Um, one thing that I realized later, I think you had that in your summary as well, right? That this fungus actually spread through wheat, right?
Hmm.
Wasn't that? If you noticed in the first episode, Joel and his daughter almost got it,
Oh yeah, they had a lot of near misses.
right? They didn't eat the cereal.
They were all out of
Um,
pancakes. He forgot to get a
right.
cake after work.
Yeah, it was very smart that way, very subtle.
Yeah, going into it, for some reason, the only thing I knew about it was that it was spread via wheat. And so I caught on to all those things really quickly, but they were so subtle, right? Like, I think it's one of those things that you probably wouldn't catch until the second time around. At
Right.
least I wouldn't usually.
But yeah, then I was hooked. I was like, oh, that is so smart.
Yeah, it was really well done.
But yeah, that was my impression of this.
Hmm.
Okay. Cool. So it sounds like there weren't many, thank goodness, I guess,
Yeah.
similarities between like the pandemic that occurred in The Last of Us and the pandemic that occurred um in our real world in a couple of years ago. I just found it very interesting how they start producing the show and talking about like a pandemic um around the same time as we're coming out of the COVID era per se.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings me to my next. I'm going to alternate. So I'm going to do another poll question.
Yeah.
Um, it's another one with years. So if you're bad with year and dates like I am, it's going to be another struggle bus. Apologies. But my question for you is, which year did Dr. Newman warn the threat of the fungi?
Mushrooms!
Was it in 1968, 1978, 1988, or 1998.
Oh, gosh.
So, kind of similar to when we were warned about COVID in November 2019 and didn't take it seriously. When
Yeah.
was the first warning for the threat of the fungi?
And so you're
19
talking of, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to repeat the years again if you wanted me to repeat them, but you can go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. So I can't quite remember which doctor that is. Is that the doctor that we see at the very beginning, who's kind of talking about cordyceps and what happens if potentially if global warming continues, or is that the doctor who was like, "Oh yeah, no, we're screwed, bomb the city"?
Oh, no, no, no. It's definitely the first one. It's not the one
Okay,
that said bomb the city.
got it. Okay. I was pretty sure it happened in the 70s when I was thinking back to it, but 78 seems too late. So I'm going to actually go with 1968. What about you, Julia?
I don't remember all the years, so 1968 sounds good though. I just got this. Of the same opinion.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll. It's actually 1968. So they
Yes.
had, I'd say, almost, what
Hmm.
is it, 3.5 decades. Um, Kind of like a fair warning, which was like played low key. I think another doctor on the show where Dr. Newman kind of gave her warning, downplayed her warning. So yeah, kind of similar to like our COVID situation where it's like, oh, it's nothing serious. We have it under control. We did
Yeah.
not have it under control.
Yeah, I was curious, Julia, if that was a similarly done in the games. Was there kind of this was it this idea that the cordyceps had evolved to live in warmer temperatures and so could live in the human body, or was it explained at all in the game?
I can't recall anymore of what the conditions were. What I know though is still that um the mushroom fungus kind of spread in a different way. That
Oh.
is what I remember. So they went in a different direction in the show. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it was better to display. I remember in the show it was said that this is just this huge organism that is connected to each other, right? And then it would basically alert other parts of it if they sense something going on. I can't recall that this was going on like that in the game. Um, what happened, even like the spreading of it. So in the show, it was via biting, right? In the game, it was also via spores in the air.
Mm.
So actually, Ellie and Joel always had like gas masks with them, and when they entered the building and saw spores, they actually just got those masks on, just not to inhale the spores, because that would
Interesting.
have turned them as well.
Yeah.
Not Ellie though, but yeah, she also had a mask on, just not to reveal herself,
Yeah.
right?
Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense with fungus and how we know mushrooms grow and spread. Spores seem like a very logical, but I wonder if that's just hard to capture in camera. Or maybe Pedro Pascal didn't want to play another character where he had to wear a helmet or
The
mask all the
helmet.
time.
Oh no, I have to hide my face again. Oh no.
And it's not gonna be an N95 this time.
Yeah.
It's a full-on gas mask.
Right. Yeah. Interesting. Obsidian Blade said the second game came out around the time of COVID, and I had to quit playing because it was too real. That's super fair and legit.
Yeah, that is true. That came out around COVID, and I played that game a lot. I didn't stop. But like I said earlier, I think when we were off camera, I was telling you about that there were some scenes in there that I was just obsessively playing through because I just couldn't beat it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the worst. But eventually I got through it. So very proud of myself.
We're proud of you too.
Yeah, good job. You display that persistence will get you get you results
Mm-hmm.
eventually.
I did some rage quitting though. I, I turned that off, and one time I left it for 2 weeks because I was just so upset about it.
No. But you did
Oh.
come back to it,
I
right?
did, yeah, eventually I did. So lots of a break in between. But I wanted to know what happened, right?
Yeah.
I won't tell here. Sorry.
Thanks. Oh.
Um, I think this would be a good leeway to move into another question. Let's see. Um, let's do a question. Let's move away from like the pandemic and a little COVID and all of that. Were there any characters in the show or in the game that you resonated with, and what was it about them made you really um, resonate with them? Sorry, I couldn't think of another word for resonate off the
You
top of
know,
my head.
sometimes you pick the right word the first time.
You gotta reuse it.
um, sorry, someone just did a blurb. It's very catchy. Who are you? I don't know. What do you think, Julia?
No, I think you should take this one first.
I had to update the question, so I was like messing around with it.
Do you want to do your like? You can do your favorite character too. It doesn't have to be someone you're like, oh, that's me. And point to the
My
TV.
Well,
um,
not because it's me. Oh, go ahead, Prime.
I was just gonna say, I was actually talking to my sister in law about this the other day. The character of Bill, uh, was not necessarily somebody who I expected to resonate with. Um, but as you got to know him, and this idea of not really, like, not, oh, how do I put this? Your having your love for somebody else be the reason why you persist is just this like beautiful sentiment that I did not expect from this kind of gruff, grouchy kind of you know bunkered old guy. Um but it was surprisingly deep and beautiful, and I was not anticipating seeing myself in a Bill character. And I think the show does a really good job of making you see different people's perspectives. And I think the game, I've heard, does it even better. But it's like all these people who are just trying to make the decisions for themselves. Even Kathleen, right, who is so kind of terrifying. You know, you get to know what her motivation is behind hunting down Sam and his brother so relentlessly. So it's a little scary to sometimes see yourself in like bad guys, but like I think in a situation like the post apocalypse, it makes sense, and it was really interesting.
Yeah, I can just agree with that. And the game is making really a good well, point of this, and in showing different perspectives, what drives people to make certain decisions, right? And makes them human that way. Like even an obvious bad person like Kathleen, right, has her own, well, reasons to do things and to protect people.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I really liked her character in the show. I like the actress a lot. Not my favorite character. I mean, and also I really don't compare myself to anyone there. I really like Riley.
Mm.
I think her storyline is really a cool one. she is, right, running away to be with the Fireflies, gets back to Ellie to reunite, right, as best friends. They spend that night in the mall and have all that fun. But on the other hand, she's also revealing that she has changed, right? And Ellie is not happy about that, and that she joined basically a terrorist group and has a reason for that as well, right? Um, so I like this kind of this adventurous character that she is. I mean, it doesn't end well for her, unfortunately. Um, Resonating more with Bill and Frank, though, because if I would see myself in the apocalypse, I think I would choose their lifestyle. I would try to hunker down. I would secure my house. I would build the biggest fence that I could find and just try to live a safe life in this environment. Preferably with my love.
Right.
It's not always happening, right? But yeah, no, they had a pretty cool storyline.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Yeah. Obsidian Blade says Bill and his story is a can be missed thing in the game, which is interesting.
I think Yulia
That's
talked
true.
about that a little bit because you said off stream that the show gave Bill and Frank's story a little more depth and kind of a little they covered things that weren't as well covered in the game.
Yeah, it was really a good opportunity to pick that up what was really just hinted at in the game, right? So might have been controversial for some people, but you can't always make everyone happy.
No.
I think it was a very good choice to go down that route.
Yes, definitely. Interesting. So do you meet Bill, but you just kind of hear about Frank? And you can even maybe accidentally even not meet Bill? Is that
It is actually I just pretend I'm on camera. I'm not sure if I recall that correctly, but hey, maybe our audience can help me out. But I think you just meet Bill and Frank is dead already,
Oh, okay.
and it was kind of like a business relationship what they had. But there are little hints like items that lay around that hint to that they were maybe a little bit more than just business partners.
Interesting. Okay. Making me want to play the game.
Maybe.
I would think it'd be the other way around if like the game didn't give you a lot of story on some characters, you would want to watch the show to learn more about them.
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, that's a great point too. I've heard though that I think with a video game it's much longer than the show. So it probably has a lot more stories, a lot more, depth that it can get into, especially if the storytelling method is via just these little hints and clues, like little drawings or diary entries or something like that. You can put a ton of story in without
Hmm.
actually like telling you that story.
Yes, that is true. It is a great tool for storytelling,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was in the game they were able to draw that narrative around the fireflies, right? And why it's important to get Ellie to where she needs to be, right? And this growth that happens, the growth of the relationship between her and Joel, what happens on the way, is more intense and deeper, of course, as the show is would be ever able to tell that story.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even though they did a great job. I mean, I won't lessen that.
No. uh,
Um, well, speaking of Joel and Ellie, my next question is: were there any choices that Joel and Ellie made where you found yourself either like strongly agreeing with them or disagreeing with them, or like your opinions about their choices contrasted what friends and families had? Tough question.
It's a tough question. I mean, if you watch the show, you might have gotten the clue that Joel is not necessarily a good person,
Yeah.
right? He's a killer. And he also kills when not absolutely necessary, right? He has to deal with a lot of trauma and other things in his life, and he's not always making good decisions. So I think they were able to bring that point across very well in the show, as also in the video game.
Yeah. I mean, I think there were a couple moments where I'm like, don't go down that creepy hole in the gas station, Ellie. Like, come on, this is a zombie show. What are you doing? Um,
Don't be stupid.
right, exactly. Definitely moments like that. I thought, I you can't talk about decisions Joel made without talking about the last episode. His decision to basically, you know, spoilers, like kill everybody in the Firefly uh, outpost and rescue Ellie and not tell her the truth about why he did that. Like, I don't know that I necessarily disagree with his actions. Well, no, I definitely disagree with his actions. I don't know that I disagree with his reasoning. Um, but yeah, that was a big one.
I agree. I mean, sure, you can discuss about that, right? Was it the right decision or not? I think it was a very human decision of someone who grew very fond of another human and wasn't able to basically leave her to her death
Yeah.
for something abstract, right? Like maybe there is a cure. I mean, they didn't know, actually.
Yeah, I thought I would have made the same decision. I probably wouldn't have done it via violence. I mean,
Mm.
he used the tool that he had available to him, and that is he's good at. Um, but just
I
the
mean, yeah.
just
No, go ahead.
just the fact that that they didn't give Ellie a choice. They didn't tell her the truth about what was going to happen to her. And I don't the science just seemed really backwards to me. Like, we're going to harvest the brain of the only person on earth that we know is immune to this horrible disease and kill potentially, like, definitely kill her. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, wouldn't you want to take like little samples of her brain at first and like do everything that you can to make sure that she survives in case the first results are inconclusive, or you know what I mean? It felt
Little
very
samples of her brain.
I don't
How does that
Marium,
work?
can we take
Well,
brain samples?
Can,
yes, you
can we
can.
ask the
Thank
brain
you.
surgeon real quickly?
This is where I will intervene with my knowledge.
Yes,
So
please.
I did do a little reading about the last episode and the decisions they had to make. And well, to be honest, someone who's worked in lab sciences and has experience with research, you don't want to destroy your only specimen you
Thank
have.
you.
It's very precious. If you can make replications of it, you will, and you can figure it out. But you don't want to destroy like the only I guess sample or whatever you want to call it, because once it's gone, you will have nothing. And if your experiments will fail multiple times while you're experimenting, and like the ideas you have and the theories you have are not 100% correct. They're all in all just theories. And what will prove them is your samples or like your specimens or whatever you want to call. I dislike calling a human specimen, but I'm talking more about like in a laboratory sense right now. Um
Hmm.
and so like taking Ellie's brain out, killing her and like having no more of her in the hopes of finding a cure seems a little, like Prime said, backwards. Um and I agree with Prime. There are neurosurgeries where you do take out tissue. It could be for tumors, it could be for resections, for epilepsy. They could be you can take out brain tissue for other neurological diseases as well. You don't have to take out the entire brain just to get a sample. And yeah, that like when I read over kind of like their logic behind like what the logic behind fireflies extracting Ellie's brain, it just seemed a little extreme. As like someone coming up from like a healthcare and research perspective, where like, okay, this is the only person you know who's immune to the disease. You're not 100% sure if her brain will have the cure, but you're willing to risk it. Seems very odd.
Hmm.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
can see that. Uh, it was interesting though to talk to people who weren't familiar with the story at all as well, right? Like, my husband Dennis, for example, he didn't know about the game or the story at all, and we were watching it apart from each other. And when I didn't see the last episode for a long time until last week. But I mean, I knew what was about to happen anyways, right? So he was like just approaching me like, hey, I'm not sure. Did I watch the last episode? It was really weird. There was this weird story about Ellie being kidnapped by some cannibals, and that was super odd. And then I think the story is over, and I'm like, is it though? And he's like, oh no, wait, they eventually met the fireflies and they wanted to get her brain and whatever to get a cure, and then Joel killed everyone. But that can't be the ending, right? Like, okay.
The ending of
Hi.
season 1.
Like, yes, and he was so not impressed by it. I was
Oh
like,
no.
I mean, like, what did you expect? And he was like, no, I think they were building up to something more. And I mean, when I watched this, I had the feeling, so the game kind of prepared me for that moment, kind of. It was building up. Everything in that game was always building up to meeting the fireflies and getting the cure. I don't think that came across in the show that strongly because they were covering so many other topics around that. I feel that the whole firefly story kind of went away a little bit. How important that was.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just my impression, because you have just so much time in a TV show to explain things, right? And to get to the point that it felt a little bit rushed in the end.
I agree with you. I thought the pacing of the end was a little off.
Mm-hmm.
We go from very quickly this horrible traumatic event where Ellie is kidnapped and has to fight her way through, save herself from cannibals, and then
Yeah.
we have this extremely tender moment where he's like, where Joel has finally, uttered those words we've been waiting to hear the entire season, which is just when he gives her the hug and calls her baby girl, and you're just like
Aww.
bawling,
Yeah.
right? And then the next episode, I think, is the last episode, right? And I felt like they tried to cram so much into this episode. They tried to cram in Ellie experiencing true deep trauma for the events that just took place in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Joel kind of having a 180 in his relationship with Ellie, and now he's kind of opened up and embraced her and is being kind of the jokester, where he's been the curmudgeon old guy the whole time. And then then they meet the fireflies, and then he kills everybody, and then they run away, and it's just like, it was too much. I felt like they could have made that into 3 episodes, or even if they had
Yes.
reversed the way that they did this, where maybe they meet the cannibals first and then they meet Sam, and I can't remember his brother's name.
Henry?
Henry, thank you.
Henry.
And I thought that story did a better job of illustrating the importance that Ellie felt in her ability to save people when she tries to help Sam. Maybe that would have been a better transition to this now story of her being this kind of sacrificial lamb that will save the rest of humanity. I'm not sure. Those are my show notes.
The notes that you took while watching the show.
That's right. Sending them to the director, like,
Here, please look at this. I think, didn't they also do in the last episode the whole background story about how Ellie actually got immune?
yes, yeah. Was
So
that a full episode to itself, though? I think that was
I
a
think that was
full.
part of the last episode, though.
I
I'm
think
not
it was
sure.
part of the last one. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
remember
Yeah,
from
that was
where.
actually an add-on. That was never explained in the game. So I
Really?
think it is a very nice add-on. Because it made sense, like that she might have gotten it like during birth. That was so dramatic, though. That scene. Oh my gosh. But yeah.
Yeah. Ah, and fun fact, that is Ellie's mom in the show is the voice actress who plays Ellie in the video game series.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. There was a couple of times, I know we talked about this before stream, but there's a couple of actors in the show that, or the voice actors of the original characters. So the original voice actor for Joel plays David, who is the cannibal pastor guy's right hand man. And I believe Marlene is the same actress. I think Marlene plays Marlene in the games as well. Don't quote me on that one, but I think that's right.
I didn't know. You did all the
I
research.
I did read online somewhere that they did cast some of the voice actors from the game into the show. But what was interesting is that because they took place 10 years apart, um like it's like instead of playing Ellie, Ellie's mom in the game is now acting as her mom in the show,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Okay, I'm gonna do a poll question, and this is a super easy one, I promise. Nothing to do with dates this time, because I think I have given enough trauma to our poor audience with dates and years. But we've also mentioned this a couple of times throughout our stream, and this is a super obvious one. But my question is, which fungi is the inspiration for the infection that takes place in the show? Is it the oh gosh, I when I wrote these out, I didn't realize I would have to pronounce them out loud, but here it goes.
Actually,
Agaricus?
sorry, Marium, can you repeat the question? Because we just got rated by Playtest Northwest. Hi, Playtest Northwest. Thanks for joining
Hello.
us today. We're just fanning out about The Last of Us and doing some fun trivia. So Marium's about to do another poll, or another trivia question. So go ahead, Marium.
I'm all up for it if I get another chance to try to pronounce these fungi names. So we're talking about the fungi that is the inspiration for the infection of the monsters in the show, and we have options of 4. So you'll have to tell me which one's the correct answer. I'll go through the question again. Which fungi is the inspiration for the infection that takes place in the show? Is it the agaricus, the cordyceps, or the she-take, or death cap? And I will start the poll so that our audience does not have to listen to me to butcher these poor fungi names.
You did great.
Thank you. I tried. I really tried.
I know the answer to this one, so I won't
Me
say it this
too.
time. Oh, okay. Okay.
Pretty obvious one.
I won't say.
This is like a pop quiz after the teacher's like given a lecture. It's to see if you all were paying attention.
Gosh, please don't tell everyone that.
Oh no, I've just ruined it. Now it's not fun anymore.
Kidding. It's just like, oh my gosh, this Marium is just gonna be testing us on like the stream again. Feel like I'm in school.
No, everyone likes trivia. Come on.
Yeah, we're just testing to see how well our audience has been paying attention to us.
Exactly. Well, while we're waiting to see what the poll results are, do you all even like mushrooms? Are you mushroom fans? Do you like to
Eat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite is my shrimp mushroom Alfredo pasta.
Ooh, yum.
And I make the Alfredo sauce from scratch, so it's like my all-time favorite pasta.
That
Nice.
sounds really good.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
That does sound good. I um sad times. I think I was allergic to mushrooms for maybe 2 or 3 years, but fortunately, it kind of disappeared.
Oh, interesting.
It's like just my body said for a while, like, nah, no mushrooms for you. I was so sad.
That is really sad. Oh.
But yeah, no, I got back. Or maybe I forced my body to like them again and not to do weird things. Who knows?
Oh.
Oh, I think we got a winner there. Two winners.
Yeah. Cordyceps. Chorus. I don't know how to say it.
I thought it
Brian,
was
help me.
cordyceps with a D.
Yeah, wasn't it cordyceps?
I think
Cordyceps.
I think they
Cordyceps.
call it cordyceps maybe in the show.
Oh, slightly
So it's
variant.
like, I see.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I really enjoyed the fungi names that I like put on as the other options, like death cap. I'm like, oh, why didn't they pick that one?
It's right there. Come on.
And there's like shiitake.
Oh,
I don't
shiitake.
know.
Shiitake, I think. Shiitake mushrooms.
Shiitake?
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh.
Those are the, I think, like, really big ones.
Ooh. Oh. Now I'm hungry.
Oh, right?
Okay. All right. I think this might be the last question
Okay.
for the stream for today. And so how do you think I think Yulia already knows this answer, but how do you think the story will take place for season 2? Prime, like what are your expectations for like how the story is going to go? If you had to make a prediction.
I mean, hold on, let me update the question really quick in our Pedro Pascal bubble. I think for sure, the truth has to come out about what happened, and Ellie is gonna find out that Joel made this decision for her, and they'll have to wrestle with that somehow. So it could be a lot of rebuilding trust and seeing some damage to that relationship between Joel and Ellie. I imagine that it'll probably be maybe a couple years later. Maybe Ellie will be a little bit older, and they've been living peace. This is my hope for them. They've been living peacefully in their little commune with Tommy and his wife and their new baby. I think nothing is certain in stuff where there's zombies, right? And nothing is certain when there's desperate people everywhere. So it'll probably be similar to season 1, where there's still a cure. There's still a quest for a cure. There's still a need for a cure. And I'm guessing that hopefully Ellie will have a little bit more agency to choose her own destiny in terms of how she wants to contribute to finding that cure.
Yulia, do you think that season 2 might deviate away from part 2 of the game? Do you expect
Yes,
it to? Do you
I'm
foresee?
pretty sure that they will take the liberty and to alter that story a bit, just to make it more accessible for an audience. I mean, I won't get into detail at all. So, I think they might alter it. I think it's gonna be great. I also think it's gonna be more than one more season, right? I think they're planning to split game 2 into more than one season. And yeah, no, I'm very looking forward to it.
Thinking
I mean,
Mhm.
it's very exciting. I mean, maybe we can spoiler where it's gonna take place.
Oh, which brings me to my next poll question, but I think Prime was going to say something, so before I do my poll question.
Oh,
Right.
I was just curious to see, because like the first season took this very tiny story from the game and made it into a full episode, which was phenomenal. Are there characters from season 1 or even season 2 that you're hoping to see get kind of like full fleshed out stories in the next season or seasons? Nothing comes to
I
mind.
can. I can't say.
Oh, too many spoilers. Okay, that's fair.
This is no. I can. This is a very dangerous area I'm in right now. I won't say anything.
Okay, that's totally fair.
All right.
Fractal Rainbow says Death Cap is really deadly, but doesn't take over the ant brain / bodies the same way. So Death Cap might be just like elimination, no zombie apocalypse. Do the Jump says, I think the big shocking reveal for season 2 will be that it all takes place in the NYPD Blue universe. And Obsidian says, or they'll pull a Lost and it's purgatory. They were all dead from the start.
April
That's true.
Fools.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh. I realized that I have not typed up the question, but I'll type it up as I kind of state the question for the poll. So which city do you all think The Last of Us are? Yes. Which city does the Last of Us Part 2 game take place in? Is it Los Angeles? Is it Seattle? Is it Philadelphia? Or is it Dallas? And I will have that pull up in just a second.
I genuinely thought that it would be closer to where they ended the season 1, which I believe is Wyoming, right?
Is it?
Is it?
I'm not. Yeah, could be. Beautiful there.
Very cold, snowy Wyoming. Wasn't it Wyoming that they ended the season in that little town, or was I?
It was very cold. Yeah.
Or Montana? I don't know. I'm surprised to hear that it could be any of those 4 cities. So I have no clue. I do think it would be cool if it took place in Dallas, because the show started in Texas. Be cool to end it in Texas too. Assuming it ends there, which is actually a pretty big leap as well. I just had this panic moment where I'm like, wait, Dallas is in Texas, right?
Usually I have no idea, so
I
totally relying on you.
I actually had to Google where Philadelphia was. I was like, it's not a state, right?
Oh no. Don't ever have a GeekGirlCon member in like your geography quiz.
I blame my Wednesday brain. I'm like, I'm halfway through the week. My brain's fried.
It's only Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, by the way. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Clearly. Yo, I'm in a different time zone. I am time traveling today.
No, nice.
The correct answer is actually, Yulia, do you want to give it?
Sure, it's Seattle.
Oh, no way!
Yeah.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yep.
I actually know this because I watched the Part 2 game play clip accidentally on social media, and they're like, this looks familiar. Turns out it's the Seattle Aquarium, and I was like, wait a minute. I know that place.
That's
yeah,
so
they're
cool.
doing a really good job. Like
are they gonna film
showing us places?
Are they gonna film season 2 in Seattle?
Maybe. Who knows?
I want to be a mushroom extra. Call me.
You want to meet Pedro Pascal, probably, huh?
Oh, I'd be way too shy. I'm not the kind of person that can approach like celebrities. I just want to be a mushroom zombie. That would be so fun.
We could sign up the entire GeekGirlCon to be mushroom zombies.
Yes.
I think a lot of us
Yes.
would be up for it.
Yes. If anybody has connections, you let us know. I've got a horde of willing volunteers ready to get like little mushrooms stuck to our faces. Yeah.
Sir Metzer says he has acting experience.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, Sir Metzer, you gotta hook us up. You can give us some acting lessons, maybe.
That would be fun.
On stream. Have them on stream to show us how to act.
That's right.
Like,
how do I act like a mushroom?
That's right. An angry mushroom.
I want to be a clicker.
That'd be so cool. Ugh.
They could
Maybe,
have done a little bit more of clickers in that show, though.
you know,
Clickers are so dangerous in that game.
I think for a quote unquote, zombie show, there was actually not a lot of plot that really revolved around the zombies, which I think maybe is part of the reason why I liked it, because it was mostly a story about people and relationships in an
Yeah,
unfortunate time, and that unfortunate time just happens to be full of zombies.
right.
But yeah, yeah, I
I
wouldn't
mean,
mind.
also, right, what is the real threat most of the time, right? Is it zombies or is it other people?
Exactly. Yep.
Something to think about.
Emerald says, next Twitch stream mushroom acting. We need someone on to help us act like mushrooms.
Our next stream on Thursday will be. Just kidding. Don't want to put Sir Matzer on the spot. Sir Matzer, are you available this Thursday?
Oh.
All right. I
Good.
think that's all the questions I had for both of you.
Awesome.
Thank you for joining
Thank
me
you.
and letting me grill you on The Last of Us, a show that I have not watched, but I had plenty of questions for.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get the chance, I still think, even though we've given you lots of spoilers, I still think you'll find a lot of enjoyment out of it. Because, like I said, it's a story about people and relationships, and not necessarily about huge plot points, though there are some of them. So I would say still give it a watch.
Hopefully before season 2.
Yeah.
I think we have some time until that drops at some point. I think, what did they say? Like, end of next year? Or something like that? I'm not sure.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like
gonna
of
be a while.
2024? Well,
Okay.
they released, let's see, season 1 in January of this year, so I would imagine at least a year. But if they haven't started production, then maybe 2 years? I imagine it takes a long time to dress those people up as mushroom zombies.
True. Very true.
Let's say probably by the end of 2024, early 2025.
Okay.
But who
Bummer.
knows? Maybe we get a surprise.
Yeah. Well, and being in Seattle, I'm sure we'll hear if there's, filming going on around here. So, so
We will see what's going on. On the
exactly.
lookout for some activity there.
Yep, exactly.
I'll take frequent trips to the aquarium just to see if
Yes.
there's filming anything
Yeah,
there.
some filming crews. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, speaking of our upcoming streams, we actually have Mario Party this Thursday, so please join us for a fantastic and fun Thursday game with Prime, Christina, and Joe. And then next week on Tuesday we have our mushroom foraging with Mycology Society. So just going to be a lot of new fun facts about mushrooms that we can all learn, and how to find edible mushrooms or truffles while you're out in the wilderness. Great life hack if there is an apocalypse. So, just so you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's
All
it for
right.
me.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you.
Thanks everybody for the great discussion today, and thanks for watching. And we're gonna throw folks over for a raid. We're gonna raid our friend. Let's see. I just saw Fiery Ashes was playing Boyfriend Dungeon, which is just a delightful game.
Still is, yes. I have fond memories of that, Prime.
Right?
Fond memories.
Me too. I think maybe they logged off. Let's see.
Um,
Oh, yeah, it looks like we may have just missed them. Okay.
Oh no.
Oh no. What am I doing wrong here? Sorry. Keep you can keep
well, I could give more trivia questions. Fiery Ashes seems online to me, Prime.
Okay. What am I
But
doing wrong? Why can't we read them? Maybe they have raids turned off.
maybe. Okay, quick question for everyone. Here's I'll leave it open-ended because I was not able to think of any options. But what does FEDRA, FEDRA, stand for?
Oof.
Does
Oh.
anyone remember?
That's a tough one.
I have no clue.
Really tough.
I had a hard time thinking of like options for this one, so I left it open-ended. I was like, can't do this. Can't do
Huh.
this on a Wednesday brain.
I have no idea.
FEDRA. Here is a hint. FEDRA, federal.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Well, okay.
But
Right?
F, yeah.
But I didn't realize it's
F is federal.
okay.
Federal.
So it's wait, I gotta write this down. FED Fed RA Federal.
Emeraldo says Federated Regions of America.
Oh wait, is
That's a good guess.
So is just the
It
F
is.
federal or is the whole federal?
I can't disclose that.
Okay.
I'll make it easy. The FE is federal.
Okay. Thank you. Federal Department of Resistance.
I don't think they want to be a resistance.
Federal Disease Resistance Association. I have no clue.
Oh, don't let us hanging here.
Any more guesses from anyone else?
The Federal Department of. I'm thinking like it's got to be like quarantine or disease or infection or something, but none of those things are in there. Federal Drug Rock Arson. Oh, I have no idea.
Oh my gosh. It's the Federal Disaster Response Agency.
Oh,
so close.
Okay, all right.
So
So when you were at
close.
department, I was like, should I give her another hint or not?
Our department is really close as well.
Yeah.
Like first. Yeah.
That would have been a good guess. I mean, that would have been one of the options if I had made options for this one. But I was like, FEDRA, can I think of other acronym, like words like that could fit into this acronym? No, I can't. So I'm not going to. It's like I really can't.
All right. Well, I got the raid all situated. Sorry about that.
Cool.
We're going to send folks over to Rage Cage Rugger, a good friend. We've rated them multiple times. They are fans of GeekGirlCon, so go ahead and, show them some GeekGirlCon love. Also, big thanks to Playtest Northwest for the raid today. It's so great to see everybody, and we're so glad that you shared your community with us. If people don't know, Playtest Northwest has been to GeekGirlCon. They're on our tabletop floor frequently. They are just like a great association of tabletop game makers. And you should go follow them because they're awesome. Give them a quick follow on Twitch. All right, y'all. I'm gonna throw us over to Rage. Thanks for being here, and we will see you on Thursday for Mario Party. Bye.